Today we're going to be making one of my absolute favorite vegan dinner recipes, and that is my creamy mushroom and herb risotto. This has been one of my hyperfixation meals. I can't stop making it. It's so delicious, it's full of nutritious ingredients, and it's super easy to make. So let's get into the recipe. One of my favorite things about this recipe is that it is so nutritious and it doesn't taste like a healthy recipe. It really just tastes so delicious thanks to the herbs, which are actually the powerhouse of this recipe because herbs not only have such a delicious flavor, but they're actually full of so many nutrients. They are anti-inflammatory, full of antioxidants. There are some that are antiviral, antibacterial, so the list goes on. I will have more details about the herbs in this recipe particularly on my website, which will be linked below along with the written version of the recipe. So if you're interested in learning about that, make sure to click the link in the description. And then aside from that, it's all made with like whole foods, plant-based ingredients, but it tastes absolutely amazing. The first step is cutting up the onions. The recipe only calls for 1 onion, but my Instacart has been giving me very tiny onions recently, so I'm just going to go ahead and use 3. This is one of those recipes where with the vegetables, you can really add as many or as little as you like. Most of the flavor is going to come in the dressing we're making that goes in towards the end. So I like to just use the onions, and I'll do 3 because onions are very nutritious. So adjust that to your personal taste. And then I will also be cutting up the mushrooms. So the mushrooms in the recipe that I used when I first posted it, I just got one of those like assortments of mushrooms, and honestly that's such a great way to incorporate even more nutrients and plant-based diversity into your diet. So many times we just eat the regular mushrooms, or this goes for any vegetable, but we just eat the regular most common one at the grocery store. But this is a great chance to kind of play around with different mushrooms. So today I have oyster mushrooms that I'm also going to be putting in it, but you can put whatever. I've also done it with, like I said, the first time I did it, it was like lion's mane, oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. So there's tons of blends, and I'm honestly seeing them pop up at grocery stores all over the place. So those are great for recipes like this because you can play around with it and it's fun. So why not? Mushrooms are so nutritious, so do what you want, make it how you want, and enjoy it how you want. So let's do it. I swear, onions used to never make me cry, but recently, all right, before we get into the actual cooking part of the recipe, we are going to go ahead and make the herb goddess dressing. Now, this is where all the flavor is in this recipe. This is the most important part, so please don't skip it. You will not be able to just add the ingredients to the pot. You really need to blend them and get them going together. So we're going to go ahead and make that. I usually make this recipe, honestly, on a weekly basis because I use it in some of my other recipes, and I honestly just love using it as a salad dressing or a dipping sauce or literally anything. It is so delicious. So let's go ahead and make that, and then we will get into cooking this. The herb goddess dressing is made up of fresh basil, fresh parsley, green onions, garlic, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, tahini, a little bit of maple syrup, sea salt and pepper, and oil of choice. You can also make this oil-free by using water and more tahini. Okay, so first step, we are just going to add a little bit of oil to the pan. You can add vegetable broth for less oil. This recipe is honestly kind of a more oil-heavy recipe. So like I said with the dressing, you can make that oil-free, and you can also make this oil-free as well by just using a little bit of vegetable broth instead. The oil just adds like an extra depth of flavor. So depending on if you're trying to lose weight or you're just trying to maintain weight, you can kind of choose how much or if you even want to use oil. So that is what I recommend doing. So I'm just gonna wait for this to heat up before I add any of the produce. Now that the pan has been heated, we are just going to add the onions and mushrooms to the pan. And we're just gonna cook these until they start to soften and get a nice gold color. Okay, now that the mushrooms have cooked down and the onions are translucent, we can go ahead and add the rice. Now you can use regular rice. I wouldn't really recommend it because it's not that same risotto creaminess, but this is, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, but it's this word. I cannot pronounce that word to save my life. And yeah, so don't judge me. But anyways, we're gonna add the rice to this and just add it straight into the pan and then give it a nice little stir. It'll kind of soak up any extra liquid. We're gonna add the vegetable broth quickly. So I just like to do this for some reason. I don't know. I don't think you even really have to do this, but it's what I like to do. All right. We are going to add 4 cups of vegetable broth. Now you can use low sodium vegetable broth, regular vegetable broth, no salt added vegetable broth. The list goes on. You can even add water, but vegetable broth just adds so much more flavor. So we're gonna stir that around until all the rice is covered and mixed. All right, so we're gonna cover this and let it sit for a while, about 10-15 minutes. Come check on it, stir it around, and cover it again. It usually takes about 30 minutes for this rice to soak up, and we're not gonna add the dressing until almost all the rice has soaked all the vegetable broth. So I'll see you soon. Okay, so the audio got cut out of this last bit of the video, but I'm editing it here now, so I will just kind of give you a rundown of what happened. Also, side note, don't mind how messy I am. I'm the messiest cook in the world. It's just part of the process. So I like to add the herb goddess dressing while there's still liquid left in the pan. This allows the rice to just absorb all those delicious flavors. And then after about 10 minutes, you will see it becomes the delicious creamy risotto we're looking for. At this point, you will go ahead and add the spinach, and you will also add peas, but I guess I just completely forgot to buy them when I was filming this. But you're just gonna add this, and you can turn the stove off at this point and just mix it with the rice. The rice is hot enough that it will cook the spinach down. So just to avoid any burning of the risotto, I'd recommend turning the stove off and just mixing it until you get wilted spinach, and then you are good to go. Now it's time for the taste test. So good. I could eat that every single day. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel where I post a ton of other healthy vegan recipes. You can also find all of my recipes on my website, which I'll have linked below. I have everything from desserts, mocktails, main courses, smoothies, breakfast, literally you name it, it's on there. So go check that out, and I will see you guys next time.